teleporting is no fun. It's no fun because you don't really know what you're doing. You don't really understand it.
Erika Kirk just showed up in Las Vegas, and the internet is losing it again. She was there for the opening of the Turning Point Action Office. Now, this is where things took a weird turn. Right as she stepped up to the stage, her interaction with Tyler Boyer caught everyone's attention. And within minutes, people started asking questions about her outfit, that hug, and the way Tyler walked off stage right after. Now here is where things get really strange. This all comes right after Charlie Kirk's mentor died in what's being called a freak pickleball accident. His name was Jeff Webb, one of Charlie Kirk's earliest mentors, and reportedly the same guy who helped connect Charlie to powerful, wealthy circles. And now suddenly, he's gone.
This is wild. Charlie Kirk's mentor died this weekend from a pickleball accident. That's right, Jeff Webb, 76, fell during a casual game of pickleball, sustained a severe head injury 2 weeks ago, and this weekend his family took him off life support. He was one of Charlie's earliest supporters and helped connect Charlie with all of his billionaire friends when Charlie was only 18 years old to start TP USA. He knew Charlie well before he met his wife Erika Kirk and knew Donald Trump. But now, almost exactly 6 months since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, he dies in a pickleball accident. And pickleball deaths are so rare in the United States that only 5 have been reported in the last couple of years. In other words, you don't die from pickleball. Is it possible that this was just some rare and crazy accident? Or did Jeff have some information that some people did not want getting out there?
Here is why people are raising eyebrows. Pickleball deaths in the US are rare, extremely rare, almost unheard of. And then there's the timing. Almost exactly 6 months after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, someone deeply connected to him dies in one of the most rarest ways possible. Not illness, not a crash, pickleball. And it gets even crazier. This is happening right as things are escalating in the Charlie Kirk case. Because in recent interviews, former counterinsurgency head Joe Kent has been asking questions about the investigation.
We've been told that this individual, Robinson, is a lone gunman, and maybe he is. But the investigation that I was a part of, the National Counterterrorism Center was a part of, we were stopped from continuing to investigate. And the FBI will say that they stopped that because they wanted to turn everything over to the Utah state authorities. Everything's going to trial. It's very, very sensitive. But there was still a lot for us to look into that I can't really get into, but there was still linkage for us to investigate.
Apparently, he received access to Charlie's group chats from Andrew Colvett, the same chats that Candace leaked in her podcasts.
After Charlie's murder, there were text messages that from a private group chat that were made public and were used to, frankly, kick off the big conspiracy theory that we've run into over and over again.
To Joe Kent, and I don't know what happened to them at that point. Okay, I just want to make that very clear. Eventually, Joe did message me and suggest that I make those screen grabs public. I declined because those were shared privately. I didn't want to be reckless with them in the public. There could be innocent people on that group chat that would then be harmed. So I declined. But then, fast forward another week or two, and they were made public.
Now, Joe Kent reportedly wanted to look into possible foreign involvement, but Kash Patel, he famously shut that down. And here's the part that's really catching attention. According to Andrew Colvett, who now hosts The Charlie Kirk Show, there's a government official who could testify for the defense, and it could turn the whole case on its head.
There is going to be even more evidence that is presented to the public in May at the evidentiary hearing, okay? And it's a mountain of evidence, some of which has been made public, some of which has not been made public yet. And the prosecution is going to lay out its case against Tyler Robinson. And I'm told it's a whopper. I'm told they've got this guy dead to rights. And meanwhile, you have government officials that are now saying on the record to journalists they are willing to testify on behalf of the defense to get, ostensibly, to get Tyler Robinson off the hook for something that he did. And so the level of betrayal that I currently feel is dramatic.
So now the internet is asking, could it be Joe Kent? Well, we can't be sure. But one thing is clear. Things are finally starting to shake up in this case, and people are paying close attention. Now, moving on, there's a clip going viral right now, and it's completely dividing the internet.
Our U.S. Attorney, Mike Donovan, was out there. And not only does everyone needs to know, we met with this president multiple times about this endeavor. The president knew what was going on here. The president cared. People like Alice Johnson sitting in the front. Our U.S. Attorney, Mike Donovan, was out there. And not only does everyone needs to know, we met with this president multiple times about this endeavor. The president knew what was going on here. The president cared. People like Alice Johnson.
Some people think the president is dozing off, saying he's been under a lot of stress lately. Others think something might actually be wrong, like he could be sick. But then there's another group saying he's doing it on purpose, that he's just completely bored and Pam Bondi might be losing her job soon. What do you think is going on here? And also, why do you think Stephen Miller reacted so strangely while the president was talking?
Iran's missile capabilities were also growing so fast that it would soon have become virtually impossible to stop them. Once they have a missile, once they have what they were building.
Now, moving on, let's talk about Greg Phillips, a top FEMA official who claims he teleported 50 miles to a Waffle House of all places.
We had a teleport incident, 2 of them, and I ended up at a Waffle House like 50 miles away from where I was.
That man who is, yes, talking about teleporting to a Waffle House is Greg Phillips, and he now holds one of the most important jobs at FEMA, overseeing the Office of Response and Recovery.
It was an incredibly frightening moment to experience yourself in your car flying through the air. But I tell you, teleporting is no fun.
Now, people online are saying if that's true, he might want to start using that power right about now, because the US is getting hit by everything at once. A blizzard, a polar vortex, a heat dome, and something called an atmospheric river, all happening at the same time. This isn't just one storm. It's multiple extreme events hitting different parts of the country simultaneously across all 50 states. This clearly isn't regional anymore. It's nationwide, and records aren't just breaking, they're getting obliterated.
The United States is about to get a blizzard, a polar vortex, a heat dome, and an atmospheric river all at once. The entire country, all of the United States, every one of our 50 states is about to get hit with extreme weather all at the same time. This is not just one region. This is not just one storm. A top meteorologist has said that every one of our 50 states is about to get hit with extreme weather conditions. Hawaii is getting hit with something called an atmospheric river, which is this channel of massive water just absolutely pummeling Hawaii. Today, March 18th, Phoenix just shattered a record, hitting 101 degrees. That is the earliest 100-degree plus day in the 137 years of recorded history. At the same time, there are 52 inches of snow on the ground in northern Michigan as the result of what is known as a bomb cyclone. Here in Las Vegas, we hit an all-time March record of 94 degrees. North Shore, California hit 108 degrees. That is the highest recorded temperature ever in the month of March.
And as if that wasn't strange enough already, there's also a fire burning right now the size of Rhode Island. Nearly 1 million acres in Nebraska, gone. Not a small wildfire, not a local story, one of the largest burns in modern U.S. history, and somehow barely making headlines. And this isn't just empty land either. Nebraska sits on top of the Ogallala Aquifer, a massive underground water source supplying around 30% of U.S. irrigation, food, water, supply chains, all are getting squeezed at the same time. And yet, you're not seeing this all over your feed for some reason.
So a near million-acre fire has been burning through Nebraska, if you didn't know, literally the size of fucking Rhode Island, and I've been noticing zero media coverage on it. Every camera, every reporter, every headline is pointed at the Middle East. Fire is approaching 1 million acres, one of the largest in U.S. history, and I just want you to think about this when considering this fire being in Nebraska, okay? Before we get to that, I just want you to think about this. Massive wildfires in Nebraska are threatening to slow efforts to rebuild the U.S. cattle herd as key grazing land in one of the nation's top beef-producing states has been destroyed. Fires fueled by high winds have burned roughly 775,000 acres of pasture, removing a critical feed source for tens of thousands of cattle, according to state officials. Loss of grassland is expected to delay herd expansion plans, even as producers have been encouraged by historically strong cattle prices. You see where I'm going here? Now think about this. Nebraska just so happens to sit on top of the Ogallala Aquifer, which just so happens to be the largest underground water source in America. Ogallala supplies 30% of all irrigation water used in U.S. agriculture. Now think about this. While oil prices go up, fertilizer costs skyrocket. If shipping is interrupted, then grain exports also stall. This is happening during the biggest geopolitical crisis in 50 years.
Now, they might not be talking much about these record-breaking fires or all these extreme weather events, but there's one thing the mainstream media is more than happy to talk about: meteors.
The latest in a string of stellar sightings seen here overnight in California. Whoa! And Space City living up to its name. Did y'all see that? With this one Saturday afternoon in Houston.
It's going to be an explosion. A meteor or a missile fell out of the sky.
Traveling at 35,000 miles per hour, NASA says.
That's where it came in at.
Part of it crashing through this woman's roof, leaving a massive crater.
And while people online are freaking out over these sightings, you might want to hear what this Army veteran is saying, because she's sounding the alarm and asking if those are really meteors that keep falling from the sky.
I am a veteran of the United States Army. I served my country for 15 years until they medically retired me due to things that happened to me in Iraq. As a soldier who had boots on the ground in a combat zone and witnessed the night sky when things popped off, I am telling you, you all are being lied to about these meteors that are coming into our atmosphere that have now fell over California, over Houston, over Ohio, over Maryland. But oddly enough, the only proof that we have so far of any type of meteor breaking our atmosphere, actual physical proof, is the one that happened in Houston. So I can say out of the 3 events that have happened, possibly one of them is true. Possibly one. This isn't to fearmonger. This isn't to scare anybody. This is to get you to start asking questions and start paying attention to what your government is doing. I need people to put their thinking caps on.
Stem cells are basically your body's repair crew. They travel through your bloodstream fixing things that need fixing. And guess who's been talking about this for years? Joe Rogan and Mel Gibson. Watch this.
He's almost 100 years old. And from pretty bad shape. It was like bee stings. It was like he got a new lease of life. Like he got a big dose locally in the hip, which fixed all his inflammation and pain, and he started walking again. And his kidneys were good, and his heart, he had a prolapsed valves in there, and they healed. And his cognitive powers improved. His eyesight improved.
Whoa.
You know, and other stuff improved that he would hate me to talk about. But he had 2 nurses that reported to me. And it was like, holy mackerel.
Wow.
Using it as a towel rack,
Well, Dan Bilzerian was telling me about intravenous stem cells, and so was Boss Rutan. Boss Rutan, the former UFC heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
He went down and got some. He's had some pretty significant neck injuries and neck fusions, and he said he got intravenous stem cells. And the way he described it is like with his Dutch accent, like it was like I had lightning coming out of my fingers, like wow.
Stem cell therapy exists, but most people can't access it. If you want real treatments, you usually have to fly overseas and spend $30,000 for a single injection. That's completely out of reach for most of us. But while digging into all of this, I found something fascinating. There's actually a natural way to support your body's own stem cell activity, and it comes from something you'd never expect: high flavanol cocoa. Studies have shown that the flavanols in cocoa can stimulate stem cells to leave the bone marrow and circulate through the bloodstream, almost like bees leaving a hive. And if you think this sounds crazy, listen to one of the most famous cancer researchers in the United States break it down.
Is it true that cocoa activates stem cells? I'm a pancreatic cancer researcher, so let me explain the science behind it. Everybody always says that dark chocolate is very healthy for you. That is because dark chocolate or hot chocolate are made out of cocoa or cacao, and cocoa is super rich in flavanols, which is where all of the health benefits are coming from. When you consume flavanols, your body produces nitric oxide, and nitric oxide is not only critical for expanding your blood vessels, it also commands your body to release stem-like repair cells from your bone marrow, which repair the lining of your blood vessels when they become damaged. In one study, patients with coronary artery disease were given high flavanol cocoa, and the lining of their blood vessels improved by up to 47%, and there was a 2-fold increase in those repair cells floating around in their bloodstream. So consuming cocoa that is very rich in flavanols is amazing for your heart health, but many products and supplements are usually heavily processed, which removes a lot of flavanols. So if you would like a recommendation, I really recommend the Black Forest cocoa because it is super rich in flavanols. It is not chemically processed. It's vegan, non-GMO, gluten-free. It's made in America and third-party tested here, and it is super delicious and mixes really easily into any kind of liquid. Put it in your milk, coffee, even oatmeal. Each bottle will last you for a month, and they have really great reviews behind it already. So if you want to check this out, I will leave a link right down here where I get it from so you can see all of the reviews. And if you have any questions about how this works, please let me know in the comment section.
Look, don't take it from me. You just heard the science. All I'll tell you is this: I started using it and the difference has been night and day. I mix a scoop into my coffee every morning and that's it. And right now they're running their biggest sale of the year. Buy one, get one free deal for the next 48 hours. They're basically giving it away just to get it into people's hands. So if you want to try the same high flavanol cocoa researchers are talking about, hit the link in the description or pinned comment and grab the deal before it disappears.